Okay, let's take a look at Chapter 10, Lists. Chapter 9 was just a case study, and I'd recommend you read it. It's got some good information in it and new ways of thinking some of the topics. When we get into Chapter 10, and I think the next one, maybe the next two or three chapters, you get into ways of organizing data. Um, the best way to organize data is through a database. But if you only got three pieces of information, creating a table just to store three pieces of information, unless there's specific reasons, such as like a tax code that 100 programs are going to use, and obviously wouldn't make sense to put into a file of some sort or to hard code it. But typically, you got a very small amount of information, you just put it into a list. That creates issues because you think you don't need to put it into a database table, and then later on it comes back and bites you. For example, the proper way to do states in the United States was with a table. But the question becomes, did everybody do that? Or are their programs hard coded for 50 states? That's going to create an issue if we end up getting a 51st state with Washington, D.C. So, again, these are ways to arrange data, to work with it. Sometimes you'll take your data and you'll dump it into a separate structure, so then you can manipulate it and so forth without using SQL. Okay, list is a sequence, like a string, a list sequence of values. Values in the list are called elements or sometimes items. And you see here we got 10, 20, 30, 40 with brackets around it, commas between it. Or if we've got strings, you see we've got single quotes around them with commas between them with a bracket. These first four are integers, and last is a string. You can have a list within another list. Let's see what this. List 1 equals to 1, 3, 5, 7. Just curious what that looks like from a formatting standpoint. Okay, so just prints with the brackets. But that's creating a list. As they indicate, you can have a list within a list. I think it was brackets unless it was parentheses. We'll see. Yep. Notice you can have a mixture of types. Here's a string, here's a double or float, and then an integer, and then a list. So it gives you a lot of flexibility. A list that contains no elements is called an empty list. You can create one with empty brackets. So, for example, that creates a list there. Notice here, I don't think they got anything on the bottom of that page. No. Already talked about that actually. Assign it equal to values. The first item is the 0th entry, then first and second. So that follows a convention like what you've been seeing. So, for example, if I wanted to print the first number on my list, list 1, then print list 1, and you see the brackets here? That's our array notation. Print 0. Now you see prints in number 1. You can work with these. Besides just printing them, sum is equal to list 1, 0, plus list 2, 0, plus list 3, list 2, what am I doing? Let's try it again. List 1, 1, plus list 1, 2, plus list 1, 3. 16. 7 plus 3 is 10, 15, 16. So that adds up to 16. Lists are mutable. Get a drink here. That's an important concept. You can change them. See how number 1 equals 5? So if I said list 1 of 0 is equal to 20. And then I did my sum again. We saw the answer the first time was 16. If I actually change one of the items, let's see what we get. 36 or 35. 20 plus 30, 35. Yeah, so that's what it adds up to. So you can change the items. Okay, so unlike strings, lists are mutable. When the bracket operator appears on the left side of an assignment, it identifies the element of the list will be assigned. Okay. So this just defines the list, changes the 0th entry, which is the second one. So that changes 123 to 5. And then when it prints it, just prints the list. Okay. Some general guidelines on indices. Any integer expression can be used as an index. If you try to read or write an element that does not exist, you get an index error. If an index has a negative value, it counts back from the end of the list. Okay, so print list 1 of 8. List index out of range. This becomes important if you're asking people which one they want, and they put in an invalid value. You want to be sure to check for that. If I put in -2, coming from the right side, -1, -2. So that's why it prints 5. You can use the and operator. See here we got cheeses equal cheddar, Edam, and Gouda. And if you do Edam in cheeses, then it returns true. Brie in cheeses is false. States equals Kansas, Missouri, Iowa. I plug in my computer. I didn't plug in my computer. I always like plug it in and make sure I'm always have a free charge. Just in case. Yeah. Get that plugged in. There we go. Okay, so if Kansas in states, print founded, else print not found. Okay, now let's see. We're going to get user input. Comes down here, asks for state. Let's put in Montana. It says not found. If we put in Kansas, it says founded. Now you could put this inside of a while loop. So you could have it loop through until they put in a valid value. Again, you have to think whether it makes sense to hard code these. If these are all the states we're authorized to do business in, for example, as a business, you might think, well, just hard code them there. Well, that's really fine. Assume you have 100 programs to do that, because those are the only states you do business with. And then you buy another company, and you can do business in Oklahoma. Well, you have to load up those 100 programs, assuming you know where all these are at, and you'd have to put in a comma Oklahoma in all of them. Not hard, but it's very inefficient. That's why it's better to, even if you got 3 items like this, you store it into a SQL table, and whenever you need to access this, you retrieve it. Now, it's fine to put it into a list when you run your program, but the original source of this should be the database. Okay. Traversing through a list. See, for cheese and cheeses, print cheese. So this first the cheese they have here, this is whatever you want to call it. So that's your choice. For S, in, and then states is your list name. Just like over here, cheeses is our list name. And then print, and S. Kansas, Missouri, Iowa. What it does is it loops through each one of these and sets it equal to S. So it sets S equal to Kansas initially. Runs this line of code. Then it goes in for the next one. It sets S equal to Missouri. And then does that line of code and so forth. Now, if I want to, let's say, look at the sum. Sum is equal to 0 for I or num in list 1. Let's see what this does. Sum is equal to sum plus num. And print sum. And so you get 16. So that's an efficient way to go through a list. Now, we could do a while loop. Go through a list. We set an index equals 0 initially. I'll say while index is less than or equal to, and I'll hard code it, and then we'll see some methods later on that would help with that. Sum is equal to 0. Sum is equal to sum plus list one index, index. And I don't know why I got 4 there. There's 4 items, so this one's 0 to 3. And then print sum. Or maybe not. What did I get wrong? Looks like it doesn't like this. What am I forgetting on my comments? /2, no, double. I don't know what it is. Languages all start going together at some point. Okay. Now that's just real interesting. Well, it's not even running. Oh, I bet I have an infinite loop. No wonder. I've been my comment to begin with. Notice how you use print statements to determine if you're got some kind of issue. That told me my program wasn't running. If I was halfway awake this morning, I would have noticed. Okay, so you can see it's much easier to use this mechanism to loop through your list. Now they also have in the book here that you can use for loop for I in range, and here we're not hard coding it. This introduces how to get the length of a list. So for I in range, length of our list, list one. Sum is equal to 0. Sum is equal to sum plus. Now, this I you're referring to here is our index, and it defaults to 0. So here, list one I. And print something. Just different ways you can go through the list. You get 3/16 in. So now I'm curious. No, I just remembering it wrong. So what is it? Double, okay, 3 double quotations. And then end. 3 double quotations. I will remember that tomorrow. That's how you do a comment. Though this can contain another list, nested list still counts as a single element. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, now we start seeing some power of the list. Plus operator concatenates lists. So if you got 2 lists, then you can just do a C equals A plus B. So if I had list 1 Actually, I want to leave some of these here. List 1 is equal to list 1 plus list 2. And then put into list 1. So I got 1, 3, 5, 7, 4, 3, 8, 1. So put the two lists together. Now, one of my 16s is wrong, or one of my original 16s is wrong. You should have changed 32, but that's because we hard coded it here. If I wanted to put the length of list 1 there instead of hard code the value, I didn't like something there. Oh, no colon. Then you see we get that. Your length is actually how many numbers are in it. So there's 4 in there. So that's why we do less than 4, because we want to go from 0 to 3. Because indexing starts at 0 and goes 1 less than your length. Okay. The asterisk operator repeats a list given number of times. So you see we got 0 and then 4. Okay, times 8. It took our original list, 1, 3, 5, 7, and repeated it 8 times. We got a slice operator. Okay, now for the example here, the A is index 0. The B is index 1. So when you do a slice, colon, a number, or a bracket, number, colon, another number, and then closing bracket, you notice the 1 is our beginning. So that starts at the 1. This is our second entry, and then this is our third entry. So if we want to get B and C, we start at our 0 index or 1 index, and we go 1 beyond. So we want to stop at 2, so we go to 3. So it seems weird, but that's the way it works. If you omit the first index, slice starts at the beginning. If you omit the second, the slice goes to the end. Not sure if I can think of any practical example of that, but let me just show one. Okay, so I want to slice off the middle two numbers. This is index 0. Index 0, 1, 2, and 3. So if I choose 1, that starts at 3. And then I want to go to 2, so I go 1 beyond. And notice how it slices off 3 and 5. You can use it to update multiple elements. Python provides methods that operate on lists. For example, append adds a new element to the end of a list. Okay, so if I got list 1 here, Print. Input number, or input next number. -1 to quit. And num is equal to 3 initially, and I'll say, well, num is not equal to -1. Then I want to get the next number. Okay, I'll make an integer, I guess. And I think I can do it all in one. List1 dot append. And int input. I guess I put. No, I don't want to do that. Never mind. What am I doing? Wake up, David. Num is equal to int input. I guess I can actually do it here. Input next number, -1 to quit. I don't need it up here. And list1 dot append my num. Okay. Except for I don't want to append if it's -1. So if num is not equal, I hope that's a not equal in Python. Sometimes I mix the languages up. Okay, input next number 3, 7, that'll have to 10, and 5, that's 15. So I put -1 in, and see it gives me my 3, 7, 5. So this is a way you can very easily build a list. Start with the empty list, and you get a user input, and then do something with it. In this case, I print them out. Extend. Takes the list as an argument and appends all of the elements. So, for example, you got A, B, C, and you got D and E that you want to put on there. I'm not sure how that is different than the plus. If you want to sort, you see how there's a sort feature. So up here, after I bring in my list of numbers, if I want to sort it, list1.sort. Methods typically take parentheses. 7, 2, and 8. -1 to quit. 2, 7, 8. So it sorts it. By the way, this is called sentinel loop. When you keep looping through until some kind of trigger that the user inputs occurs, that's when you drop out. Okay. I looked at an example like that. Talked about accumulator. Notice that we have a built-in function with Python called sum. So instead of doing it that way, I'm surprised that didn't give me an error to use the word sum on that, but I suppose it understands context. Let's see, 10, 5, 2, that adds up 17, -1. It's not callable. Is it because of use some up above? I wonder. I usually stay away from using reserved words. What have I done here? Inserts on. Bad programming language allow me to use some if it's a reserved word. I like Python. Don't get me wrong, but I like uh, I like strongly typed programming languages. They're my real interest. You don't have issues like that happen. Assuming that's what's wrong. 10, 5, 2, -1. Still doesn't like it. Doesn't like my son. I don't think I'm using somewhere anywhere else. Line 30. Yeah, maybe that's old. Maybe it isn't in this version of this. Seems like it just says some in the list name. Some in the list name. Oh well. 10, 5, 2, -1. Interesting. You have to get used to that in programming. Constant change. Um, One of the classes I'm teaching this semester, iOS app development. They changed to the Swift UI and changed the interface. And from the last time I taught it to now is just so radically different. I'm gonna have to relearn everything. You got to be comfortable with change. If you're not comfortable with change, you shouldn't go into IT, whether that's programming, networking, or whatever. Because that's one thing that's sure to happen is it's going to keep evolving. Um, the Unity package for game development, they were pushing out a update every month, so they kept improving. Um, yeah. Okay. Um, Let me see here. This is create an empty list for S and T. Um, so we're passing in T as a parameter, like the 1, 2, 3. Although this is not that. Capitalizing them, then appending them to the list, and then returning the list. So you can in a function come up here. Definition. Build list. Okay, they're passing in to T, but I'm not going to do that. New list. Okay, and this right here will be new list. And then I want to return new list. And down here, I'm going to say list1 equals to build list. I think that'll work. Not sure about this right here if I need that. Then like something. New list, line 5. Oh. Okay, 15, 2, 1, negative 1, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay. Like I say, I don't think I need this. Okay. So you can return it just like you can any other regular variable. You can return a list. And those are just talking about there. Delete an element. See the pop, t dot pop, and a 1 refers to B, because remember the indexing. A is 0, B is 1, C is 2. So that's how you can remove a number out of a list. I'm not sure why I'd want to remove a number here. I suppose if you build a menu, then you'd want to maybe provide that functionality. For example, list menu, and then print David's number menu. One build list. 2 print list. Print 3 delete an element. Okay, so if they push 1, so I'm going to get their input. So choice equals to input, I'll say int, input, pick a number. Enter a number might be better. And why is that yellow? Oh, okay. If choice is equal to 1, list 1 is equal to that. And we come up here and put this. Why is it yellow? Oh, went away. Okay, list menu. Okay, so still yellow. Let's see what kind of error I have. Okay, build a list. I put 1 here. 15, 2, 1, negative 1 to quit. What is that? Okay, I'm not sure why that's yellow. I declare it up better. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Okay, so if I want to print the list, then I could have a definition here, print list. And you just keep one of them. Or wait a minute. My print list is this right here. So you see I'm starting to organize it a little bit better. Like that. 9 to exit. Now I'm going to call this, and you don't have to call it there, you can call it in your main program, but I'm going to return my choice. And down here, I'll call it CH just to indicate you don't have to set it equal to 2, something besides 9. And while choice is not equal to 9, then I'm going to call list menu over and over. Okay, the list menu should return that value in theory. Okay, so let's run this. Choice is not defined because I called it CH. Okay. Okay, so build a list, put 1 in there, 15 to 1, -1 to quit that. It comes back here to print list, I do 2. That's interesting, it didn't work at all, but we'll come back to that. And 9, it's not working. Return choice, what am I forgetting? Oh, think I had never programmed. Okay. There we go. That's working there. But why isn't print working? Print list 1. Yeah, maybe I'll control it this way. Pass in list 1. Oh. Can't actually call it unless I have my if statement here, else elif, if I'm not mixing up another language. Choice equals 2. Then I'm going to call print list. Okay. LF choice equals 3. Delete element. Okay, so element. For now, I'll just have that say print list 1. We'll come back to that. Then let's run this. Okay, build a list, 5, 2, 1, -1. Print the list. Prints an empty list. Okay. I thought by putting it up here it'd make it global, but obviously I'm wrong. And it could be because I redefine it when I build it. Okay, so that's returning a new list. So here I'm going to pass in list 1. I've screwed this up and I don't have time to fix it. But probably better if I didn't put that actually inside the choice here. Let me change that. Maybe it's still time to fix it. Cut. Okay. And Control V. Because otherwise, I'm gonna have a nightmare of returning lists and so forth. And I want to do it sloppy. I want it down here to build my list. So list one equals. Okay. Okay, so then up here, all my yellow's gone. That's a promising, but let's run it and see where we're at. Got my infinite loop there, so let me stop that. Build a list. 5, 2, 1. -1 to quit. Print the list. Print list not working because I'm not passing in anything. Now, since I made it global, I don't think I need this. So let's run that again. One build a list, 5, 2, 1, -1 to quit. Print list, put 2 in. And 5, 2, 1. Okay, perfect. Delete an element just prints it for now. Does that. Okay. And then 9 to exit. Okay. So I'm print the list. Then I want to ask them which one. So finally, I've come circle back around quite a bit here. Choice equals int input. Which index? Starts at 0. Colon, like that. Okay. So back to this here, the pop is how you get rid of it. So then I'm going to do list1 dot pop, and you put in your index here. So you put your choice. Okay. Now I don't like the fact that can I use slash ins in Python? I don't remember. Guess I can. Okay. Build list 5, 2, 1, -1. Print list 5, 2, 1. Okay. Delete an element. Come here. I want to delete the second number, the 2. So I'll put a 1 in. Now let me print the list. Now we got 5 and 1. Okay, so our program's starting to shape up here. Guess we add a number because we build a list, but that's entirely from. No, I think I use the append on it, don't I? I use the append, so I wouldn't need a choice of adding an element, but you could. I mean, if you want to put that in there. See where I'm at material-wise. If you want to remove the element, but you don't know the index, you can actually put in a number. So remove an option there. So if I wanted to change the delete an element, there's a problem with this. If you have the same number, then it may get confused. start again. Okay, build a list. 3, 2, 3. -1. Print my list. Okay, 3, 2, 3. Delete an element. It says which number, and if I put 3 in. Now let's print the list. And you see that 2 and 3. It deleted the first 3, which might be okay. But if your goal was to delete the second 3, then that's not going to work right. Having the index would be better. So those are kind of your choices programming wise. You can check, I suppose, if it's in more than one place, and then ask them which one at that point. Okay. This talks about how you can take a string and build a list from it. So list S, and then that separates the characters. See here we got our pining for the Fords. I'm saying that right? And we do an S dot split on that, and then you got the separate words there. You can specify a delimiter. I think I had you in this class do a program where you separate it based upon commas. You see how there you can do an S dot split based upon delimiter, and that'll separate them based upon whatever. So if you got commas between numbers, then you can use that to separate them. That's a pretty efficient way of doing that. You can do a join instead, going the other direction, where you got your separate list items, and you do a join based upon your delimiter, and that creates a string out of it, putting whatever in between it. So if you got a list of numbers and you want to put them in the CSV format, very slick way to put them into CSV format, although there are other ways. Let's see here. Aliasing, you can read about that, but basically, you create B, and B is not actually a list; it's an alias to A. So list arguments. Delete head gets rid of first item. You could also just do a delete T0. So this is a way to clean up a list. It shows append. Okay. I wanted to make sure I was going to get through this. Now there's first one I want you to build is a menu-based program to get numbers. So to get numbers into a list, and then a menu choice to find the average, and to find the median. Median will be a little bit interesting. I want to see how you do on it. Let me give you examples on the median. For example, if we have 5, 8, 10, an odd count. Now, it does have to be in order, so keep that in mind. If it's an odd count, and you can use the modulus to decide if it's an odd count. Remember, the length is how you refer to the length of the list. And I don't remember the exact syntax, but something like if the length of list 1, I think is %. If not, then you'll have to Google it. %2. If that's equal to 1, then that's odd. So that's how you check for odd. So like here, 3 divided by 2 is 1 with remainder of 1. The modulus gives you a remainder, so this would tell you it's an odd count. If it's an odd count, the median is the number in the middle. And I'll leave it up to you to figure out how in the world you get the number in the middle. But if you think of an example, think of what this is. Your length is 3. Then that can help you determine how to get that number in the middle. The other one is where you got an even count. Let me do that example. 5, 8, 10, and 12. Then the median is the average of the middle two numbers. So for example, I take 8 plus 10 divided by 2. How can you check if it's even? Well, if you do your length of your list, use your modulus, divide by 2, and so that's equal to 0. That's how you can determine if something's even. So over here, you can use much of what I have here, build a list, print a list, delete an element. So you can build upon this and then the exit, but you need to have new elements in here. You need to have like menu 4, find the average. And then menu choice 5, find the median. Okay, so that's first project. And let's see if there's anything interesting here. So I got a little bit of time to simple this sum. Adds up all the elements from all the nested lists. Okay. Write a function called cumsum, list number returns cumsum. That is a new list with a That's an interesting one. I'm going to assign exercise 10.2. It's statistics. So that'll be your second project. Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and stop there. So I'll stop the recording.